Dennis O'Rourke.
Mr Chairman, this bill needs a very serious title, I think, because it's a pretty serious issue that it covers. So I think we should take it seriously, and I believe that the title needs to be actually a lot longer, even though it's quite a long title already, and in particular it must be descriptive of the content of what's in the bill. So I'd like to propose a more accurate title. It will be a bit longer, but I think it will be worth the extra words, and it would be "The Measures to Make the National-Led Government's Appalling Record on Housing Reform since 2008 Even Worse" bill, because I think that is actually fundamentally what this bill does. And it could be longer, of course, because there are other things in it which show how bad this legislation is. For example, it could refer to measures to reduce housing stock in New Zealand, because that's one of the most obvious effects of this particular piece of legislation and the Principal Act which it amends. Secondly, it could refer to encouraging rents and higher house prices, and because that's also what it does, and it's for, of course, the benefit of selected private housing providers and nobody else in the community. Rentals are far, far too high already, and the rate of increase is far too great. Thirdly, it could refer to a failure by this government to improve rental house quality over the 7 years it has so far been in power. The quality of rental homes is not improved. Little or nothing has been done about that, and this bill fails to address it. So the title could also be, as another alternative, for example, "Measures to Reduce Rental Housing Stock, Increase Rents and Ensure No Improvement in Private Rental Home Quality" bill, because that would also be a very descriptive title for this legislation. And another alternative might be the Housing Weasel Words bill, because I don't think I've ever heard so many weasel words in a piece of legislation itself and in the descriptions around it. And I want to refer to just three of them. First of all is housing independence. Now, what does that really mean? Housing independence really means abandoned to the rigours of a dysfunctional rental market. That's actually what we're talking about when the government refers to housing independence. And another word that is often used in relation to this bill is flexibility. And I think that really means that ministers, through their excessive powers given to them in this bill to give directions, will be empowered to do dodgy deals behind closed doors with a variety of housing providers. Now, the third...
Order.
Beg your pardon?
Order.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I prefer to... Well, it's my responsibility to look at you. Thank you. Mr O'Rourke.
Okay. The third term is tailored contracts. And I think that what that means is that some will get privileges and provisions that others won't get. There will be no transparency and there won't be a level playing field. So I don't think that's a particularly good term to use either, and yet it's one which is bandied about the House without any real attempt to define what it is. Now, Mr Speaker, finally, another possible title for this word could be the Suppression of Housing Demand Bill, because that's the whole thrust of both the Principal Act and this amendment to it. And the suppression of housing demand really means pushing people out of state houses who should not be pushed or bullied out of state housing. In fact, many such people should actually be encouraged into state housing as a good, secure housing solution for them. And Mr Chairman, it will make it too hard in the future for people to get a state house. That's been a problem for a long time. This legislation will make it worse. So I've suggested at least 3 ways in which the title to this bill could be improved, and I would be happy to support a change to any one of them.
Ruth